Evening YouTubers. This is Nick's user coming back from a sabbatical. It's been a while. Well, it's only been a couple of months. But anyway, I'd like to thank you for your support and hanging around. And what I have here, although it's a little late perhaps, is Ubuntu MATE. I've updated it, so it's the full shish kebab. I've had a bit of a play with it over the last month and a bit. Not that I've been using it as a daily driver, but I've had to use it here and there. As you all should know by now, I use Debian as my daily driver, and for programming I use LFS. The reason being is that LFS keeps me on track, not distracted with web browsing and things like that. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look. So Ubuntu MATE is a little different from your typical Ubuntu. I mean, it does have the same repository setup, don't get me wrong. It's not just the same as some sort of a Linux Mint or whatever. It does use MATE, which comes, well, at least I believe it's supported by the Linux Mint project. However, MATE is now available on many distributions, so what makes Ubuntu MATE so special perhaps? And that is that Ubuntu typically comes with, well, traditionally came with the Unity desktop, and by making the choice to use a bit of a different spin, you can get away from the Unity desktop and you can use XFCE, you can use KDE, you even have that new GNOME edition, but you also have MATE. And so MATE for me is really not a protest choice, but rather it's a choice harkening back to the old GNOME 2. I think it was 2.32 days. The good old days of GNOME being a 2D desktop environment. If you want 3D, you had to use Compiz and all that good gear. But I won't be demoing Compiz today. I'll just simply be going through. But this looks so similar to the way Ubuntu, for me, started out as, and so it has some sort of nostalgic effect, I guess. Of course, the icons are different. Back then, you had the burnt orange icons with Ubuntu. I'm pretty sure these days they still use the burnt orange ones somewhat. But here we have a sort of Mint X theme with these icons here, or something similar to, well, maybe not. I'd have to look at the theming, but at least this icon here reminds me of the Mint X theme a bit. Anyway, let's have a look at what applications we've got. We've got the backups one, so you can do your backups. I recommend you do routine backups and save them somewhere separate from where your normal hard drive spins. Character map, look, simple application for finding various characters. I will let you go into that. Disks. So you can go in and have a look at the specs of your disk. One thing, I mean, yes, it has the disk is okay bit coming from the smart stuff. It would be nice if we could run palimpsest. Oh, you can unmount drives here, great. But it would be nice to be able to run palimpsest directly from here. What do we got? Oh, look at that. So that's probably good enough anyway. This could very well do the job from palimpsest. I don't even know if it is. I have my doubts about it. No. Who knows? Anyway. And Grandpa, oh jeez, what a strange name for an archive manager. Typically use tar on the command line, you know, creating tar.gzs, tar.lzmas, tar.xzs. So you can use these graphical programs if you want to. There's a calculator. GDK based scientific calculator. Look, you're not going to find a terrible big difference here between this and some of the other distros in terms of the available applications, but they are there. Let's have a look. Screencast. So you can see here the screencast, and here's the file that I'm working on at the moment. This one 64.4 megabytes. Okay. Passwords and keys. Not using that to great effect at the moment. Just using the normal methods, but if you want to, you can save some keys. It can be actually quite convenient. Having to remember only one password to get access to multiple passwords can be quite useful. Recommend you do it if you have troubles remembering your various passwords or don't want the trouble of having to enter them in. Here we go. Blank. I think this might be the menu system. Yes, this one here. And I don't know what my like. I might have to just keep in dock. No. We might just kill blank. Hey, that's going to annoy me a little bit. Okay. There's a little free tutorial for you about how to kill an application quite quickly. Pluma text editor. Wonder if that's like the old gedit. Probably. But it's there, and you can use it. One of the good things about this, I probably should highlight this. So let's just make a little program. The one that you'll typically see in programming books on C++. Now, save this, and I'll just save it as program.cpp. Now I better choose a directory, save it, and you can see all the context highlighting has come up. Lovely, huh? Excellent. So, yeah, it's pretty much gedit, but it's called Pluma. Synapse. Okay. So again, another search tool. Type to search. So program. Oh, program.cpp. I don't know if that allows me to open it or anything. Does anything useful come of this? Maybe I can just find things. I really don't know how I'm going to use this. Anyway, not the sort of application I'd like to use, but fine. We can take a screenshot, and I guess we should do that now. Great, and we'll save that on the desktop because we'll use that for our upload later as a thumbnail when I resize it with ImageMagick, which is not installed on here, but I'll install it later and resize it. I have Mate image viewer. I guess that comes in handy just now. I would have thought I would find it in there. Let's just see how we... Just give me a tick. Take a screenshot. And take a screenshot. That's great. And we go, okay, cool. So, file, open, and we'll go to the desktop. And there's our image. Lovely. So, again, that works competently. Mate color selection. Okay, so if you need to use a some sort of HTML file, HTML hexadecimal color, you've got it there. You can pick a color too. Wonderful, huh? So anyway, could be very useful. I find those little applications kind of handy. Shotwell. Let's have a look. More like a photo management tool, but we should be able to import. We'll copy him. There you go. It gives us a thumbnail of the image that we looked for. Wonderful. What's this? It's still there. Right. Maybe I don't want you there. Great. In Note tier 2 we've got the Bluetooth Bluetooth symbol, even though I've got no Bluetooth capability on this motherboard and no Bluetooth devices hooked up. It's a simple scan. Can't use that one because I do not have a scanner. Firefox. Let's take a look. So, just to give us a good feel for things, let's go Wikipedia, Firefox. Let's have a look. I always like to have a look at the version. So, we've got the ESR version, which is that enterprise long-term support type. And what else have we got here? And we're at 47. So it's kind of, they're keeping up to date, aren't they? Even though this is a sort of, yeah, if I look at Ubuntu MATE, now it's an LTS release. So they're keeping up with things, even though it's an LTS release. Isn't that marvellous? We'll see how that progresses over time. We'll keep an eye on it. We can close it now. Firefox, pretty competent web browser, becoming somewhat less popular these days, and it sits in Chrome's shadow, or Chromium's shadow. Chrome being the proprietary version of the open source web browser Chromium, probably with some minimal changes, including the availability of the Flash player. With the hex chat, you've seen it before. I've taken that one through before. Pigeon Internet Messenger, we've again taken that one through before. Thunderbird Mail. Okay, let's have a look at that one. Just give that a tick to open up. So just be having a look at the version. I'm not going to load up all my email in here. I haven't been doing that sort of thing. But with the menu here, and help, and about Thunderbird, and, you know, version 38.8, let's go back to Firefox. I shouldn't have shut it before, should I? I'll keep it up now. I'll keep Firefox up. Thunderbird, and we'll look under Wikipedia. This guy. So yeah, I think we're looking at a much older version than what's available. Something they're not keeping up with. So yeah, you might want to, if you really do need the latest version of it, you might consider compiling it, or you might be able to download the binary copy of it. I think they might do the same thing as they do with Firefox, making binary copies. Not sure, never done that, but it might be worth investigating. Okay, so we can close Thunderbird. Okay, transmission. So the BitTorrent client, I really don't like that agreement business there. I think anyone who's using a BitTorrent client in the free and open source world understands what BitTorrent's primarily used for in the free and open source world, and that is getting free and open source software distributed without putting load on free and open source servers. So yeah, you've got transmission there, which I find is exceedingly competent. I tend to use Deluge because it's just a nice, quick and easy Python-based one. So what else have we got? We've got Office, the Office applications. We've got a document viewer. It's collateral, but I am sure it's the old events. Yes, it is. And you can open up a PDF with that. Okay. We have LibreOffice, and I'll allow you to go through that. One of the things actually that needs looking into, heavily needs looking into, and I call to the community to actually do something about, is documenting the basic functionality, as in the programming language basic functionality that's available in LibreOffice. I don't know if the API or the object model has been well documented. I've looked for various things and it seems pretty fragmented. And as a VBA programmer who would like to maybe write some programs in LibreOffice's basic, it would be kind of handy. For Zero, we've got disk mastering tool here. Again, most likely, yeah, it's just a simple, it's just the one from the GNOME, the recent-ish GNOME project application there. So for Zero, tend to use CD record myself. I compile CD record for myself. We have Cheese. Okay, I have no webcam, so you're not going to get much joy out of that. Oh, by the way, when we were back here, we could use the Mate dictionary, but you know, you've seen that all before. Rhythmbox. Again, if you do need a competent music player, again, this is not a media player, but a music player that has access to some of the free music out there for streaming purposes, you've got it there. It is pretty good. Again, I tend to use command line applications. I'm terrible like that. I don't even use a sort of a music management library or anything of that sort. I tend to just use like mplayer on the command line and stuff like that, but to each his own, I guess. Sound, so I'm not going to go in there because you can manage pulse audio sound. We have VLC, quite a competent media player. However, again, I tend to use mplayer, trying to keep things minimalist. But yes, obviously VLC is considered the Swiss Army knife of video still. You've got your system tools, and I think I'll leave that for you guys to go through. And you've got some accessibility tools here. In the Places menu, you can go to any of the various places in here, navigate around the file system. And you've got some administration tools and things like that, you know, for your printers and your network and stuff. Again, for an experienced user, you're probably not going to use these tools. You're probably just going to leap straight into the command line and make your changes. I don't know if it's got the firewall set up. It does. It does have firewall configuration. So instead of dealing with IP or PF tables, you might actually find this kind of useful to do that. There's a bit of a control center here. I guess you can kind of get all the things in a one-stop shop if you want to go in there. So, you know, having used this, I actually would recommend it. A couple of reasons why I'd recommend it over the normal Ubuntu is it's easy to use interface. I mean, straight away it's quite easy just to get into it and have a bit of an exploration around and you know, it's great. The next thing is it actually has been enhanced over the old GNOME. So if I pull something to the side here, GNOME could never used to do the split painting and stuff like that. Another thing too is the file manager retains the F3 functionality, which I love, this being able to drag and drop files into different places just like that, just F3. It's great, easy to use if you know the functionalities there. The other thing too is that you know, Ubuntu, it does have a lot of software available for it, but it tends to be targeted towards the regular Ubuntu, but the repositories are the same. They're binary compatible, so there should be no reason why you can't, for example, run Steam on this or whatever. So simple, easy to use, attractive. And the other thing too is that it's probably using very little RAM at the moment. Let's just take a look at that actually. The system monitor and memory, and I mean, this is a 64-bit system, so it's using a tad more than it would normally would, but it's on a 16 gig machine. So it's really using very little capability. There's not much. I mean, there's a little bit of there's a little bit of CPU usage here, just simply because I'm doing the video recording, but nonetheless, I doubt it would be that much. So considering, in light of the fact I've got a couple of applications running here, and I'm doing the screen recording, the screencast, it's actually doing quite well, in my view. So it's a competent system. I haven't had too much dramas with it. At the start, I did have the little thing that you can expect from Ubuntu, which is there's been an internal system error or whatever like that. That sort of stuff never really worries me too much, and it usually clears itself up after a couple of months of updates or whatever like that. And with an LTS, you know, you've got some ridiculous amount of support. I think it's like 5 years or something like that. So, you know, you're in fairly good hands, fairly reliable hands. Now, the worst case scenario, let's just say they decided not to make Ubuntu MATE anymore. You could go to Debian if you really wanted to. If you got, if you became competent at dealing with this system, you could go to Debian. And that's another point to make, is that Ubuntu comes from Debian. It doesn't directly come from it. Of course, they're different projects with different goals and objectives. But the Ubuntu source code, ultimately, in a lot of cases, unless it's patched for specific Ubuntu use cases, is actually from Debian upstream. And Debian, in a lot of cases, a lot of people's cases, is very usable, especially the stable code. Testing might be a bit buggy, unstable might be even more buggy. I mean, I've got an annoying bug in Debian testing at the moment, so I just work around it. or things might not work exactly right in Debian testing. But in Debian stable, you know, very, very confident system. And if you want to, I guess, focus on free software principles or something like that, if you want to really use a free system that's very nice, you could, of course, use Debian. So this is pretty much an overview. Would I give it a rating? Yeah, you know, like using it, I think it's probably about an 8 out of 10. I had no grief with it really, nothing major, and it seems to be a perfectly competent system. So I recommend you give it a try, give it a whirl. You know, and for the new users out there, don't be afraid of distro hopping. You know, have a look around, find what you want to, you know, what does it for you. Eventually, I got to the point, and I think you will too, as if you've done this for as long as I have, nearly, well, over 10 years now. You get to a point where if this application's not on your system, then you'll just meet the dependencies and compile the damn thing. So, and I'm sure eventually you'll get there yourself if something's really not there. And that's what I should remind you of too. With Ubuntu, you do get the snap packages, and I think that's rolling out to various distributions too. But you get the snap packages, and that's going to be kind of convenient if you don't really like building your own package. Someone out there can roll a package and put it in a snap package, and Bob's your uncle. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I certainly enjoyed presenting it to you. I look forward to bringing another video to you in much more pronto time. It has been a great sabbatical. I needed it. I won't go into the detail on here, but yeah, it's been especially necessary, and I'm really glad that you've been patient to stick around with me. Anyway, guys, have a good night, good day, or whatever you're having, as Daz Grieger would put it, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night.